အဲ့ဒါဒီနေ့ဆက်လက်ပြီးတော့ကိယပုဂ္ဂိုလ်ပေါ်မှာမေတ္တာပွားဖို့တို့ချုပ်ပြီးတော့လူရင်းရှင်းပြပါမယ်
Sayadaw says, although yesterday Sayadaw would like to deal with the practice of loving kindness meditation towards the lovable person, but being the special occasion, that's why yesterday he had talked about the high ordination, so the continuity was broke yesterday. Today Sayadaw would like to continue about the practice of loving kindness meditation in connection with the loving person. Loving person is that person who has various qualities and virtues, who has generous mind and lovable speeches, full of kindnesses and helping hands. Such person is counted as lovable person. And again, who has good moral conduct, concentration and wisdom, full of 3 trainings. He has to be honored and he has to be respected. And that person also is counted as Piya Pugala, a loving person. Reflecting all these qualities and virtues in a person and try to feel the endearment towards that person and pervade the loving feeling to such person. In this way, gradually one can develop loving kindness practice towards the very dearly friend and the neutral person, as well as in the end to the hostile person. Novices and monks, the lovable person should be their own preceptor or the noble friend who guides them to have well-mannered behavior, cultured life, and admonish in each and every aspect to avoid wrong deeds and unwholesome deeds on the disciples or the pupils. So for novices and monks, therefore, the preceptor is the one who is lovable and who has the virtue of endearment. Therefore, they can choose as their loving person to their own preceptor. For the laities, either they can choose their teachers who teach them various kinds of educations to have well-cultured life and civilized life and to have various knowledges. And that teacher could be the lovable object to pervade their loving feeling. Or they can choose their own parents because parents are the benevolent person to the children. In this way, either they can choose the educating master, or they can choose their own parents as the loving person. That aspect Sayadaw has already dealt in previous days also.
အဲ့ဒီလိုပြီးရပုဂ္ဂိုလ်တယောက်
When you get the appropriate person as the loving person to pervade your loving feeling towards him, if women are practicing, then they choose their same-sex person. And the person should be alive. Before you pervade your loving feeling towards him or her, you have to introspect again or reflect yourself again all the lovable aspects on that person. His generous behavior, kindness, and helping hands, how he has done good to us, how he takes care to us, and how he speaks lovely words, friendly words, uniting words. All this should be reflected again. And again try to find out praiseworthy qualities and virtues on him or her, that he or she is full of moral good behaviors, well-mannered, cultured way of living, and mental state also very pure, and he or she possesses lot of understanding and wisdom, leading his or her life in spiritual way. So when you reflect in this way all these praiseworthy aspects on that person to whom you are pervading your loving feeling, then you will get such wholeheartedly endearing feeling towards him or her, and then try to pervade at first about 5 minutes yourself and be ready to radiate your loving feeling towards the loving person. And you should pervade the loving kindness feeling towards the person according to the guidance which shown in the Patisambhida Magga.
ပဋိသမိဓာမေကပါဠိတော်မှာတော့
It is shown in 4 ways. Avero hotu, abhyapajo hotu, aniko hotu, sukhi attanam pariharatu in Pali. That means, be my good teacher, free from inner and outer enmities. Be my teacher, be free from mental pain. Be my teacher, free from physical pain. May my teacher be enabled to carry his life with happiness.
In
the practice of loving kindness meditation, which is used, the first word in Patisambhida Magga in Pali is avera. Vera means enmity or enemy, you translate. And when a is joined together, then it will give the negative meaning. So avera means free from enmity or free from enemy. But when we say enemy, at that time most of the people think an enemy means a person. Actually, enemy means not person. While someone doing wrong things or bad things or unwholesome things, at that time he or she is overpowered or overwhelmed by the various defilements or defiling factors. He or she possesses at that time greed or hatred or illusion or envy or jealousy, so many kinds of defilements arising at the time when one is committing wrong deeds. Suppose if one is harming to others, or killing to others, or taking life of others, or stealing to others' property, or robbing others' property, chasing other property, and committing the sexual misconduct between opposite sex, either they might be the virgin daughters of others, or they might be one other's wife or one other's husband. And when they are using false speeches and trying to use drugs and their drinks which are causing heedlessness, all these things are committed or break down because of those defiling factors. Because of greed, because of hatred, because of illusion, and so on and so forth. Really, those defilements are the enemy, are the enemies. So here we should take enemy means the inner enemy specially.
ကိုယ်စေတနာကယုတ်မှာတော့မတည့်တဲ့စာစားလို့ရှိရင်ဘေးဖြစ်ဆိုတာမျိုးလို့ပေါ့လောဘဒေါသမောဟအလိုလိုက်တော့ကိုယ်စေတနာကကြမ်းတမ်းတော့မကောင်းတဲ့ဘဝဆိုးတွေနဲ့လည်းပဲကြုံနိုင်တာပဲအဲ့ဒါဒုက္ခတိဘေးခေါ်ပါတယ်အဲ့ဒါလည်းပဲသိပြီးတော့ကြောက်စရာကောင်းပါတယ်အဲ့ဒီလိုဘေးဆိုးမျိုးတွေကလည်းကင်းပါစေဆိုတာကိုဆိုလိုရရောက်ပါတယ်အဲ့ဒီလိုဘေးဆိုးမျိုးတွေမကြုံစေချင်လို့မေတ္တာအဖို့ခံရတဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်ပါဘောပါခုနအတွင်းရည်အေးစီလိုတဲ့စေတနာနဲ့ပို့တဲ့သဘောပါပဲတော့
When one tries to pervade the loving feeling towards a lovable person, and you are trying to pervade the loving feeling using the words, may my teacher or may my good friend be free from enemy or an inner enemy or enmity. So Sayadaw has already expressed what are the inner enemies. Overwhelmed and overpowered by those defiling factors, if a person is committing various kinds of unwholesome deeds, if he or she reflects himself or herself, how he or she is leading his or her life, then they can see themselves that their life is really unwholesome, impure, full of wrong deeds. They cannot see themselves they are praiseworthy people. They will see themselves they are really blamable people, criticizable people, full of faults. And they blame themselves. So self-blaming is really a great danger, fearful danger. And that is the way how enemy develops in his or her life. Not only they are blamed by himself or her themselves, but they are blamed by others. Especially others means here the wise and understanding people, noble people. One who does unwholesome deeds, impure deeds, wise people cannot praise them. They criticize them. They blame them. They look down to them. And when wise people look down to someone, that means he or she or they are not actually good people in the society, in the neighborhood, in the surrounding. If they are committing unlawful activities which could be punished by the government or society, so they will get again the punishment from the various punishments from the government as well as from the society. And that is also another danger, another frightening aspect to a person. If one cannot control himself or herself, and again they follow the same unwholesome activities lifelong, then they will have another danger in their life to get lower worlds hereafter. And that is also another danger, another frightening aspect. So in this way, overwhelmed by those unwholesome defilements, unwholesome factors, one has to face various dangers, various blaming aspects, and they are really the enemies for such a person. So therefore, it is necessary to be free, to get rid of such sufferings and dangers, to go out of those sufferings. Therefore, one should have pure moral behaviors, pure conducts, pure life, free from all sorts of defilements which are acting as the enemies. So it is necessary to be free from those enemies. Therefore, one should pervade loving feeling towards a person to make him free from all sorts of dangers. Therefore, it is necessary to pervade the loving feeling to be free from enmity at first. Actually, if we say in brief, Sayadaw says, that means the person be free from universal suffering and be full of happinesses of this universe. And that is also to gain the peace, universal peace himself. One pervades in this way to a loving person, towards a loving person, to obtain the universal peace himself or herself. That means it doesn't mean that the person who is pervading the loving feeling is just pervading the loving feeling towards a single person. Actually, same type of feeling indirectly radiates to other beings also. While one is pervading or radiating his loving feeling in that way, during that moment, he or she is free from hateless state of mind. His mind becomes wholesome. And his mind is well protected by that loving kindness practice. His mind is safe, or his or her mind is safe from unwholesome states of mind, especially with the hateless mind. Could easily be driven away. No danger could come because of hatred. As you are possessing the hatelessness a pure love in your heart. So safety is there because of the practice of loving kindness. So you are protected, you are safe. Not only you are protected and you get safety from that practice, even you are free from such lowering type of mental condition, hate. So your mind is uplifted by that practice. Not only you are getting such benefits, but the benefits which Sayadaw has already explained in previous days. When you gain all those benefits again, so your life is upgrading. You are reaching to the higher stand. You are reaching to the higher stand because you are trying to keep the person to whom you are radiating your loving feeling towards the higher position. So therefore, in return, you also gain same type of result. Therefore, you are yourself placing to the high standard life. Secondly, when you pervade your loving feeling, as may my good friend or my teacher be free from mental pain, in Pali it is used as abhyapajo hotu. In that there is the word vyapada. Vyapada means that type of mind through which it destroys wholesome state of mind and create unwholesome state of mind, especially ill thoughts or ill wills. And when you are pervading not to have that thought of ill will which creates mental pain and suffering in one, you are really trying to feel yourself oneness with that person to make him or her free from that danger. That unwholesome state of mind, that suffering creating mind, you want to give him or her real happiness mentally. Therefore, you are free from yourself with unwholesome state of life. Therefore, your mind is protected because of that practice. Your mind is in safety condition because of that practice. And your mind is well secured, insured, and uplifted, high-graded because of the practice of loving kindness Dhamma. Thirdly, when you try to pervade your loving feeling towards that lovable person as anigo hodu, or may he be free from physical pain or physical suffering. Anigo is given the meaning in the commentary as nidukho. That means dukkha means physical pain here. So nidukha means he may be free from physical suffering or physical troubles, various types of painful sensations. When you pervade in this way the loving feeling towards that person, you are seeking welfare and benefit towards him. Actually, you want to give physical pleasure to him or to her. When you have that wholesome thought of oneness yourself with others, then your mind is protected from the danger of hatred especially. And you are free from hatred, you are protected from hatred, and you are getting safety from hatred. Your mind couldn't be deluded because of that hating nature. So you are getting security through the practice of loving kindness, and your mental state is upgrading. You are gaining upliftment because of that practice. Therefore, the loving kindness practice is there to give abundant benefit in your life, keeping away the dangerous defilements from your mind. In this world, the mental happiness and physical happiness has great importance hidden in them. When there will be physical suffering and mental suffering, or physical pain or mental pain, people are all the time in trouble. If they are free from those two types of pain, then there will be actual happiness on them. But to gain that free state of suffering and happy state of mental and physical condition, it is a very, very difficult task. If no one have physical and mental pain, then there won't be no any other types of pain in this world. But mental pain arises very easily because of various defilements, especially the ill will and hate and the anger. When these mental unwholesome factors arise in our mind, there couldn't be mental peace or mental happiness within us. And because of this body which we are possessing now, physical pain is there. Although we want to have physical happiness, free from all sorts of pains and troubles, but until this body will be there, we couldn't be free from such things. The example is very obvious to us. While we are sitting here without making any movement, all sorts of painful sensations are arising all over our body. Somewhere there are stiffness, somewhere there are tension, somewhere there are pain, somewhere there are aching, somewhere there are itching, somewhere there are throbbing. All sorts of pains are there, but we want to get rid of it, so that therefore we are changing our postures this way and that. So therefore the important thing is the practitioner who are trying to possess the hateless state of mind, ill-will-free mind, anger-free mind, that state is the actual wholesome state. To develop that state, so therefore you are trying to pervade the loving feeling or loving kindness practice. And fourthly, you are trying to pervade the loving feeling towards that lovable person, such as may the good friend or good teacher be enabled to carry his body or his life in easy way. It is actually difficult to carry out this body easily. This body is full of burden. When we get hungry, we have to feed it. When we are thirsty, we have to quench it. When we want to free from our calls of natures, we have to do it. When it gets tired, we need to make it free from tiredness. When pain will be there, we have to try to get rid of that pain. All sorts of things have to be done while you are carrying this body. Sometimes when you are forced to carry some heavy burden, heavy loads, placing on your back until you don't leave it away, keep it away, the burden, this body feels lot of trouble and suffering and pain. So therefore full of pain is there in this body. Very difficult to keep it in happy condition or suffering-free state. When you are wishing to have that easiness in one's body, that means you are seeking welfare and benefit towards that person. And you are free from ill will, you are free from hatred, you are free from anger, even from grudge, and also another type of defilements. Being free from those defilements is the great benefit for you. Therefore, Sayadaw says, when you carry the Dhamma as loving kindness practice, Each and every moment when you spread the loving kindness feeling in 4 ways, every moment you are getting protection, you are in safety, you are obtaining help from that loving kindness Dhamma, and you are in security. Insurance is there for your life to be free from all sorts of difficulties, blames and criticisms, and even you are gaining 11 types of benefits. Aren't they all beneficial aspects which are needed in your life? So all these things could be offered because of the practice of loving kindness. Again, when you obtain the Chanika stages through the practice, that would be really the actual benefit, real benefit you are obtaining through the practice. And you are obtaining that all consequences, advantages because of the loving kindness Dhamma practice.
ဒီနေ့တနာကြီးပြည့်သွားပါပြီ။ဒါလည်းအဆုံးသတ်ကြပါစို့။နောက်မှကြာမှာပဲ။ပြောတဲ့ချက်ကြီးဆက်တက်ပြီးတော့ပြောပါ။
1 hour is already completed, so therefore Sayadaw says we will stop the talk for today, and he will continue again about this loving kindness practice which has to be expressed or explained well. So he will continue it in coming days. Sometimes the lovable person may gain its effect.
ဒီတော့အဲဒီလိုမေတ္တာပွားတယ်ဆိုတာ
although one pervades their loving feeling towards a lovable person, because of that sometimes the lovable person may gain its effect, but sometimes may not, according to his accumulated karma forces. Whether the person gains benefit or not, it doesn't matter. One who pervades the loving feeling to such person, in him it is necessary to eradicate the ill will or hatred from his mind, which is really important fact. That is also Sayadaw yesterday clearly explained, to have proper understanding about the practice.
ဒီစကားအရဆိုလို့ရှိရင်မေတ္တာကိုယ်ရိုးကြည့်ပြီးတော့ပွားတယ်တကူကောင်းဆံပွားတယ်ဆိုတဲ့သဘောလည်းပဲတက်ရောက်เสียရှိပါတယ်အဲ့ဒါလိုလည်းမထင်မှတ်ဖို့အရေးကြီးပါတယ်
Sayadaw says that one who pervades the loving kindness towards others, it is important for him to discard the ill will or hatred from his or her mind. It seems that he or she is becoming selfish. Actually, it is not selfish motivation, It is the real fact that who develops loving kindness, he needs or she needs to keep away the ill will from his or her mind. It couldn't be said he or she is selfish.
ကုသိုလ်ပြုတယ်ဆိုတာ
When wholesome deed, it is necessary to do it to make it perfection. Either you do the minor type of wholesome act, or the middle type of wholesome act, or superior wholesome act. The act must be done to make it perfection, to fulfill or accomplish the perfection.
ပါရမီကုသိုလ်ဆိုတာ
Wholesome deed which becomes perfection is one who does or performs the wholesome deed. He or she never tries to seek any benefit for himself or herself, being selfish. He or she just try to give benefit to others, tries to seek welfare to others, and he himself willing to obtain the emancipation. That is the motivation to have the wholesome deed as a perfection.
အဲ့ဒါလိုရည်ရွယ်ချက်ကောင်းကောင်း
One does in this way the wholesome deed to have just perfection without having any selfish motive in him or her, and other people see that the motivation of this person is very pious, wholesome and pure. To give that impression to others, or when other people gain that impression, that type of or that kind of activities could be counted as perfection.
ညံ့တဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်များကတော့တနည်းအားဖြင့်
Have little understanding in them. Whenever they do any kind of wholesome deed, first of all they try to see the benefit themselves, and therefore there is selfish motive in their activities. They never try to see the benefit, getting rid of the worldly sufferings. Most of the time, ordinary beings try to see the benefit in worldly things. That's why they are attached too much towards the worldly possessions, and they make wish whenever they do any kind of wholesome deed to gain the worldly pleasures. When they try to seek just only the worldly pleasures, and they attach to it, and they just want to enjoy the worldly pleasures, and that might be counted as the selfish motive. In their motive, they don't have the emancipation of this from this samsara. In actual sense, therefore, those who try to seek emancipation from this world and they want to gain the real peaceful state of life or state of mind, that means deliverance from worldly sufferings, and that type of intention could arise only in those people's mind who have pure and the pious desire to fulfill the act of getting rid of this worldly suffering and to give much more benefit to worldly beings as much as they can. Just having the loving feeling and compassionate thought in their mind when they try to do the wholesome deeds, because of the pious motivation, and that their deed become perfection. And that perfection could be arise only the pious people. So therefore, perfection means the act of pious people. Those who practice loving kindness, during that moment, they don't have any kind of ill will, hatred, or thought of resentment. They are free from all these dangerous faculties in their mind. If you try to reflect yourself at a time, how much purity you are gaining through the practice of loving kindness, developing the loving thought, compassionate thought towards the others to give benefit and welfare to others, thinking yourself, may those beings be free from suffering, enmity, and may they be in happy state of life. During that moment, you just want to spread your pious thought, pious feeling towards others. And when at that time you are giving up the dangerous ill will from your mind, when you are free from dangerous ill will, could it be called that it is a selfish motive? If you try to see both sides, then you can find out how pure the thought during the practice, and that pure thought couldn't be selfish motive. Those who really practice loving kindness meditation, they are not merely practicing it. There isn't any blindness in their practice. They have some sort of understanding. At first, they realize ill will and hatred is not wholesome thought or wholesome motivation. It is really harmful, unwholesome thought and unwholesome factor. Therefore, it is necessary to keep away from our mind. That's why we are trying to develop the loving feeling to discard that dangerous ill will or hatred or anger. So you understand how dangerous the ill will is. And when you can keep away that anger or ill will or hatred through the practice of loving kindness, you yourself protecting from the dangerous aspect which has to be kept away. And while you are pervading your loving feeling to give helping hand to others, having the pure thought to develop beneficial act and welfare act. Through the welfare thought, beneficial thought, pure thought, you are not harming any being. You are not destroying any being's life or any being's property. You are free from all sorts of unwholesome activities through which people get destruction, trouble. Through the practice of loving kindness, so in this way you are protecting others too. You yourself also protecting, and you are giving protection to others. If both sides there will be beneficial consequence, then how we can say the practice is selfish practice? While you are pervading your loving feeling towards the lovable person, through the practice, gradually your mind becomes soft, pliable, malleable. At that time, you can easily keep in control the mind. You don't have any difficulty to keep yourself, your mind as you like. Just as a goldsmith who has skill to handle the gold, who knows how to purify the gold, and after purifying the gold, he can create various types of ornaments from that gold. He doesn't have to face any difficulty to make various ornaments from that gold. In the same way, when you can keep your mind soft, pliable, malleable, wealthy, then you can create your mind as you like to have ornament-like advantages in it. When your mind becomes soft, pliable and malleable, you can control it. If somebody is there who criticizes you, who blame you, and who does some harm to you, you are not affected by those activities. You can easily develop patience. Can easily think, I never take any advantage from others. I will face trouble myself to give happiness to others. That thought is the source to have patience within our mind. And that patience can develop through the practice of loving kindness. Through the practice of loving kindness, if people can develop patience, it is really a good source to develop understanding or the ability to have measurement in each and every activities. If you don't have that type of patience, then you couldn't have proper understanding how to measure your activities, whether it is proper or improper ones. So patience is the source to have judgment or measurement in your activities. You know this act is proper one and that act is improper one. You can easily avoid improper act and develop proper one. Therefore it is said, the patience is the source to have understanding, and understanding is the source to develop yourself furthermore, even to reach the highest stage of your mind. Only develop patience, then you will gain the power of patience. Through the power of patience, you can drive away the defiling power from your life, or from your mind, or from your heart. That's what the Buddha said. Again said that there is no exceeding aspect in patience. Said so because through patience you will know the welfare and benefit of others, and you develop it, and you give the benefit and welfare to others, and to keep them in happiness. And again, you are there to avoid those unbeneficial aspects through the patience. One side you can develop the pure state of mind to give benefit and welfare to others, and to protect from the unbeneficial aspects through which other people get disadvantages and unbeneficial results. So therefore the Buddha said, there is no any exceeding aspect in patience. some people think when people can do outwardly loving activities to help others, then only they think those activities are full of loving kindness. They don't see the hidden power in developing the loving feeling within one's heart or within one's mind. Although people are trying to do welfare activities, beneficial activities outwardly, but there are also some harmful activities creating through that, and they cannot see the hidden fact. Sayadaw says, at first it is necessary to keep the mind pure, because mind is the forerunner of each and every act. If your mind becomes really pure, then you can do either the practice inwardly or either the practice outwardly. So important thing is, at first you need to purify your mind. When you develop loving kindness feeling to the lovable person, and you gain softness, malleable, pliable, or wieldy nature in your practice, gradually even you can obtain jhanika stages. But Sayadaw says, to describe how to gain the jhanika stages, it should be practiced as you are practicing now, the satipatthana practice. Then only there could be good explanation to give you proper understanding. But here we don't have such time now, so therefore Sayadaw just says, through the practice of loving kindness towards the lovable person, when your mind becomes soft, pliable and malleable, wieldy, then you will reach near to the jhanika stages. And after that, you have to develop your loving feeling to another person. Another person means the very dearly lovable friend. Practicing towards him, if you gain same type of qualities, that means if you have soft mind, pliable mind, malleable mind or wieldy mind, then again try to spread your loving feeling towards the neutral person and get same type of qualities in your practice, and gradually go to spread your loving feeling towards the hostile person. Develop your loving feeling until you gain equal feeling to all those objects. There won't be any discrimination in between lovable person, a very dearly lovable friend, a neutral person, and in an enemy. equanimous state of mind will arise through the practice. After having that equality in your practice, then you can again further develop your practice to pervade your loving feeling towards the specified objects or unspecified objects, and again towards the various directional objects. So there are 5 types of unspecified loving kindness practice, 7 kinds of specified loving kindness practice, and various directional practice. If you try to count all those practices, then in number it will be 528 types of loving kindness practice. Those after the practice of Satipatthana meditation who once want to do the loving kindness practice, then only all these details could be explained. Sayadaw says, now please, we just try to pervade our loving feeling towards the unspecified 5 objects. Among them, at first, we would try to pervade the loving feeling, the first unspecified being. In Pali it is I think it would be better to do the practice in Pali first, then we proceed again to pervade it in our own languages. Sayadaw says to not just only to pervade the loving feeling myself, but to make you pervade, repeating after me. So therefore, please follow after me. And Sayadaw also suggested that you should pervade the loving feeling wholeheartedly, feeling from the inside heart. Sabbe satta avera hontu, sabbe satta abhyapajja hontu, sabbe satta anigha hontu, sabbe satta sukhi attanang pariharantu. May all beings be free from inner enmity. May all beings be free from mental suffering. May all beings be free from physical suffering. May all beings be enabled to carry out their lives peacefully, happily. Sabbe pana awera hontu, sabbe pana abhyapajja hontu, sabbe pana anigha hontu, sabbe pana sukhi attanang pariharantu. Pana means here the beings with breeding. May all beings who are breeding be free from inner enmity. May all beings who are breeding be free from mental suffering. May all beings who are breeding be free from physical suffering. May all beings who are breeding be enabled to carry out their life peacefully and happily. Sabbe bhuta awera hontu, sabbe bhuta abhyapajja hontu, sabbe bhuta anigha hontu, sabbe bhuta sukhi attanang pariharantu. In Visuddhimagga, Bhuta is translated as creature. So I also use the same word. If you don't like the word, then you can try to find out another word which is really connected with that word. All creatures, may all creatures be free from inner enmity. May all creatures be free from mental suffering. May all creatures be free from physical suffering. May all creatures be enabled to carry out their lives peacefully and happily. Sabbe atta bhava, sabbe puggala awera hontu, sabbe puggala abhyapajja hontu, sabbe puggala anigha hontu, sabbe puggala sukhi attanang pariharantu. All the persons be free from inner enmity. May all persons be free from mental sufferings. May all persons be free from physical sufferings. May all persons be enabled to carry out their lives peacefully and happily. Sabbe atta bhava pariyapanna avera hontu. Sabbe atta bhava pariyapanna anikha hontu. Sabbe atta bhava pariyapanna. Oh, sorry, I forgot one. Please repeat. Sabbe atta bhava pariyapanna abhyapajja hontu. Sabbe atta bhava pariyapanna anikha hontu. Sabbe atta bhava pariyapanna sukhi attanang pariharantu. May all personalities be free from inner enmity. May all personalities be free from mental suffering. May all personalities be free from physical sufferings. May all personalities be enabled to carry out their lives peacefully and happily. These are the 5 objects which is unspecified, and we have already purveyed our loving feeling to those objects.
ဒီပုဂ္ဂိုလ် 5 မျိုးရှိပါတယ်ဓမ္မပုဂ္ဂိုလ် 5 မျိုးကအကုန်လုံးတ attva တွေ
Therefore it is called unspecified objects. And in each object there are 4 ways to pervade the loving feeling. So if we multiply those 5 objects with 4 practices, then we can get 20 types of pervading loving kindness.
ဒီနေ့နောရိသောဖရဏာနိယမေတ္တာပို့20မှတ်ထားကြအောင်ပေါ့
So Sayadaw says, tries to recollect these 20 types of unspecified loving kindness practice.
နောက်နေ့ကျမှနောရိသောဖရဏာနိယမေတ္တာပို့28ပြီးတော့အရက်ဆယ်မျက်နှာနဲ့မြှောက်ပွားလိုက်တဲ့အခါကျတော့900တွဲ8ပေါ်လေမေတ္တာပို့လေးဆက်လက်ပြီးတော့ပြောပါမယ်ဒီနေ့ကတော့တဏှာကြီးပြည့်သွားတာမဟုတ်လို့ဒီလောက်နဲ့ပဲဒီနေ့ဆိုင်ရအောင်စို့
Tomorrow how to pervade loving kindness feeling towards the specified 7 objects and the directional practice. If we put together all those practices, then there could be 528 types of loving kindness practice. For today we will stop our Dhamma talk now.